o'clock and time for episode number 75 of What Does This Button Do? It's an educational show about smartphones and tablets with Geeks on Tour. And that's us, old dogs, and we're always learning new tricks.
Always.
Hi, I'm Jim, and here together with my wife, Chris, we are Geeks on Tour. Do you think your smartphone is smarter than you? And do you have questions about your Android phone and your iPad tablet? And how do you learn about all of these wonderful devices that just are all over the place here today? What's up?
Well, we are geeks who teach. We think that the best way to learn is in bite-sized pieces on a regular basis. So we really enjoy doing this weekly show. We pick a different topic each week. And on our website, geeksontour.com, you can find all the archives plus all the other content we offer.
That's cool. So, Chris, where are we now?
Well, we're back home in Fort Lauderdale after a busy week at the FMCA rally last week. Last week, we were in the RV in Georgia and teaching groups of people like you see in the picture.
That was a lot of fun.
So that's why we didn't have a show.
Yeah,
that's why we didn't have a show last week, but now we're back home in Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
And we were working hard, too.
Yeah.
So on today's show, we'll have a tip of the day, airplane mode, to test the app for data usage. And the beginner's lesson will be right-click. How do you right-click with these touch screens? And our app of the day is Drippler. It's something that I ran across while trying to find an app of the day. If you have questions, ask them here in the comments. And the show is recorded on YouTube. You can always find the links at geeksontour.com/weekly show. We do invite you to become a member. Just go to our website, geeksontour.com, and click on Join Us. Every week, Chris does show notes. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so I've decided to highlight a note from the previous week. So let's say that you watched our last show, which was about navigating with Google Maps, and you remembered something about being able to take a picture and navigate, but you don't remember exactly what it was. Well, you can go to our show notes and find it out. So let me show you how. First, you go to geeksontour.com. And then the menu item is weekly show. Then you just scroll down and pretty soon, first you see the current show going on, and then you see the archives of all of them. So there's 74, 73, 72, etc. So we are talking about the show with navigating with Google Maps. And I want to read the notes. See, now anybody could watch YouTube, but then you have to watch the whole 45 minutes to find the one thing that you were remembering to look for. So I'm just going to go into the notes. And for this, you have to be a member. So you need your username and password. And you log in. Then you can go and browse through all of the notes. And there's the navigating on the iPhone, navigating on the Android, and then at the end it says navigate to a photo. This requires you're using Google Photos as well as Google Maps and requires that your camera app be set to record the location. You open Google Photos, open a picture of the location you want to go to, tap the I for info, and you should see a map. Tap the map, and it opens Google Maps and starts navigating. So if that jogs your memory good enough, then you're done just by reading the notes. But if you want to see that part of the show video, you click on this link over here, and it takes you to the YouTube video exactly at the point where we start showing that particular feature.
Wow. That really comes in handy because we can't remember all the stuff that we teach. So we go back into the show notes and that's how we find.
I do. I use it myself. I say, didn't we cover that somewhere?
Seems like we should have.
Okay. So that's the tip on using the show notes for last week's show.
Okay. This week's quick tip is about airplane mode. And why would you want to use that?
Well, actually, it's about finding out whether or not an app uses data. At the rally last week, I had somebody come up and say, how can I tell if when I'm playing a game, if it's using my data or not? I mean, I like to play this game, but I can spend hours on it. I don't want to be using data. So my tip is turn on airplane mode, because that turns off all your radios, turns off all communication. And if the game still works, it means you're not using data. So let me show you how to do that.
All right, let me get over to that screen. Ready.
Okay, so on the Android, you go into settings, or you might very well have a quick setting. On mine, you drag down from the top, and I have a shortcut setting to airplane mode right there. You turn it on, and it tells you, unless you use Wi-Fi, you will no longer be able to use internet, email, or other apps that require a data connection. And when it is on, you will see a little airplane up in the notification bar. Now, just to prove, I'll use something that I know needs data, YouTube. And it should right away come up with a message saying, nope, you can't use this.
No connection.
You have no connection. You cannot use YouTube. Okay, so now we want to find the game I want to play. Hangman.
An old favorite.
Yeah. And let me see, an A, an E, and how about a C? So obviously I am playing this game even though I have no internet connection. So I'm pretty confident that it does not need a data connection. Let me show you one other example. And because it's one of my favorite things to do when I have no internet, and that is to read a book on Kindle. So I can go to Kindle, and as long as you have downloaded the book beforehand, so I can read my book as, for the whole book. But what I can't do is get a new book, because you need data in order to shop for a new book. But as long as you've downloaded it beforehand, you can read a book without an internet connection.
And that'll work with music and movies and anything that you have, right?
Right. You can, just test it by going into airplane mode. And on the iPad or iPhone, same thing. It's just that you drag up from the bottom to find the shortcut to turn on airplane mode. And once again, you'll see a little airplane up in the notification bar. And yep, I won't be able to use Safari. It tells me you're in airplane mode, silly. You can't use a web browser in airplane mode. But if I have a game I want to play, like solitaire, then I can, as soon as it loads. There. And I can play.
I prefer free cell myself.
And I am confident that I am not using any data here. Doesn't look like I have anything to do either. Where am I? There we go. So
okay,
I can play. Now, one thing that's a little bit weird, though, there are some things that are kind of hybrid. So the question is, does Google Photos use data? Well, yes, it does, because Google Photos is looking at pictures that are in your online Google account. But it does this caching thing. So you can see it has downloaded to a memory area the thumbnails of lots of pictures. But you will get to a point where you don't see the thumbnails and if you open a picture, it won't look good because it's really just the thumbnail being enlarged. So just a little bit more to know. Sometimes it's not black and white, whether something is using data or not. And the last thing, though, if you're using airplane mode just to test, make sure to turn it off.
Remember
Otherwise,
to turn airplane mode back off.
Yeah, otherwise your device isn't going to work. So I'm turning mine back off right now so that the devices will be ready for the next demonstration.
And to take any calls that you might get.
Right. Right, because when airplane mode is on, nothing works. All communications are off.
Uh-huh. Well, it's a great way to have a do not disturb.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So we do invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. It is youtube.com/2geeksontour. Our beginner's lesson this week. Long press is like a right click. What do you think?
Now, this one came up also because of being at the rally last week. I mean, we had hundreds of people in our audiences and coming up and asking us questions. And our son, Devin, joined us. And when we were teaching classes, he was often helping people back at our table. And when we came back once, he said, "Do you know how many people don't know about long press?" And I said, yeah, that's a good point. A lot of people don't know about long press and how useful it is. So that's
how it became
our beginner's lesson.
Perfect. Perfect. He was a big help, by the way. He helped a lot.
So what we're talking about is it's touch and hold. You know, instead of just tapping, it's still just a light tap, but don't lift your finger, leave your finger on. And it's not exactly like a right click, but it's close. And we call it long press. As you long press on your screen, it often will bring up options or make something happen on your screen. Now, I am not talking about, but I'll just show you briefly, the S Pen on a Samsung Note. If you have a Samsung Note device, then it comes with this little pen, and you just use it like a stylus, but it definitely has some special things. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, if you even just get close, I mean, it has kind of a hover. A phone programmer can program something to happen just by getting the pen close to the screen. And another really cool thing, it has this little button on it. If you get the pen close to the screen, press the button, you get this thing called Air Command. And you can choose things. You can open up a whole window that you can then write on. All right, and I obviously didn't do that, right? There, there. You get a note, and then you can write a note. This is not my device, and I don't really know how to use this, but that is the S Pen, if you have one.
All right.
Now, you used to use that a fair amount.
I did. Well, I don't use that particular device much anymore since I got my Google phone, and this is the one that I use most often. It is my favorite. And that one has been relegated to being a hotspot most of the time.
Okay. And another thing, I haven't even gotten my hands on one of these, but the newest iPhone, the iPhone 6S, has something they call 3D touch. And that does even more. Yeah. You know, we're talking about the precursor to that, just long press. But the 3D touch requires the special screen that is pressure sensitive. So it does something if you press it harder. And then it does something yet again if you press it even harder. And that sounds pretty cool. But we don't have one.
You'll see it on the next versions that are coming out. You know, it's already on the iPhone and it'll be on Android before too long.
But it's not something you can just start doing on your phone. The phone has to be built for it.
Is it time for a new phone?
Almost. Mine's almost. Okay, so that's the S Pen and the 3D Touch on the new Apple. But everybody's phone can do touch and hold, which we also call long press. So I'm going to start off back with the iPad and do a couple of demonstrations.
All right.
And the first demonstration has to do with the keyboard and with text. So I have prepared by starting an email. Let's get that up on my screen. And then we'll do some special things with the keyboard. And it is in my drafts. And all right. So I have started this email. And first of all, I read the first sentence there that says this is a email. I wanted that to say a sample email. And also here, I am going to use a stylus to show that sometimes that it's the same thing, long pressing with a stylus or long pressing with your finger. So I need to get positioned right there between A and email. If I long press, then I get this little magnifying. It makes it a lot easier to position your cursor. You know, I could just single press and maybe I luck out and get there, but long press brings up this magnifying and I can get right at the right spot, and then I can type sample and it's in the right spot. Now, let's say here my address is, and I just want to type 123 Main Street. And I don't want to bother going into numeric mode and then back out. So here's another place. Long press on the 123, and then you can just drag up to the numbers. Long press 123, drag up, 123, drag up. So that's just kind of a shortcut. Next, this little keyboard button over here. Now, I teach this one because people happened upon this by accident. If you long press on that, you can undock your keyboard. And this is really annoying if you do it by accident and don't know how to get it back. So people, and closing your screen and coming back doesn't do it. It is now undocked, meaning it's in the middle of your screen. So to get it docked again, long press on the keyboard button and dock. Same thing with split, long press and split.
And that was for thumb typing, wasn't it?
Right, right. And some people love this. This is a great thing to know how to do if you do thumb typing. But if you don't, that's pretty annoying. Long press and dock and merge. And it puts it back where it's supposed to be. Next, I want to copy. So copy and paste is one of the main uses, I think, of long press. So right here, I want to get some text that's on our website. So I'm going to press my home button and then go to Chrome and go to Geeks On Tour. And it looks like that's where it's coming up to automatically. And I just want the first couple sentences here. I want to copy these first couple sentences and paste them into my email. So I'm going to long press, and when I let go, I get these little handles. And on the iDevices, double tap does the same thing, and it gets a word. Okay, now it's not working. All right, I'm going to go back to my long press. That's what I know how to do. And I'll drag the end of it.
We're not seeing this. We're seeing the top of
you're
your
seeing
hand.
my hand, right? That's touchy. And all right, so I had to drag each blue circle to the beginning and to the end of where I wanted to go. And notice the word copy appears. Tap on copy. Now I want to go back to my email. I'm going to do that by double tapping on the home button. That gets me to my multitasking screen, and there's my email. Now, here I want a copy of text from our website. Just long press there.
Again.
Actually, I've decided, I guess it's a double tap there. Sometimes it's long press, sometimes it's double tap. And apparently it's double tap, and then I can tap on paste. All right, so copy and paste. The key is to start with a long press. And last thing while we're on keyboard is some smiley face emojis. This little globe at the bottom of the keyboard, if you long press on that, it gives you choices for other keyboards. Emoji. It just goes on and on. And oh, I love the eyeballs. Okay, so there I can have eyeballs. I can have a little ghost. You know,
some people get carried away with this stuff, don't they?
Yeah, they do. Okay, so how do I get back to the text? I tap on where it says ABC. Now I'm back to the regular text. And one more thing on text is shorthand. And we did another episode way early on, but I set up a shorthand for geeksontour.com rather than having to type that, GOTC, and it will resolve to geeksontour.com.
That's handy.
That is in your settings under keyboard to set up those shorthands. Okay, so all of that was just long press on keyboard stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There's more.
Of course there is. But wait.
But wait, there's more. So on your home screen, what does long press do? On the iPhone or iPad, a long press is what will get your icons all wiggling. Now, so who cares? Then you can do things with them. You can move them around. I mean, I want Blogger all the way at the top. Let's say I want the Game Center combined with Find Friends. I can drag it over. But none of this would have been possible without the long press on an icon to start them to begin with. And you can also move icons over to other home screens. Now, how to stop all the wiggling?
Press the home button.
Press the home button again, yes. Another thing that long press does is on maps. What do you think long press on a map does?
I know.
Okay, now this was on...
Where in the world are you?
Where are we? Okay, well, let's go home with that arrow. Go to where we are. There we are. All right. So long press will drop a pin. So if I want to mark Easterland Park, where we parked in our RV last week, I could touch and hold, long press, and when I let go, a pin has been dropped there. That can be very handy. You can now navigate to that spot. It can be saved for future use. Cool stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Everything I've shown you so far has been about touching on the screen. There's just one more, and that is on an iPhone or iPad, long pressing on the home button is what brings up Siri. So I long press, set an alarm for 5 minutes. Okay.
Setting the alarm.
All right. So that's it for iPhone, iPad. Now, same things on the Android. I also have created an email here to get us started. And on the Android's keyboard, notice that each key has a letter and a symbol. So the question mark is above the M. Now I could tap on symbol and then they're all symbols and go back to this, but I can also long press on the M and that gives me a question mark. Long press on the M for a question mark and long press on the S for a $, and any of the others. We have emojis on Samsung too. In this case, though, it's the microphone. Notice when there's 2 dots. Hard to see, but there are 2 dots above the microphone. That kind of means touch and hold, and you'll get other choices. Here's where you can draw, and here is all your emojis. All sorts of different emote. Ooh, what was that? Eiffel Tower. That's kind of cool. Mountains. All right. Now get back to your text with the ABC. So that's long pressing on the keyboard and copy and paste. So I want to copy some text from our website. I open up Chrome, go to our website, long press anywhere in the first paragraph of text, then move the little markers to where I want. And on the Android, the options are up at the top as to what to do with that. And it's this little double square that means copy. Now I can go back to my email by tapping on the Recent Apps button in the lower left, back to the email, and this is where I want that text to be. So I will long press and paste. So that's copy and paste. And yes, Android has shortcuts too. I've programmed my one key to be our website name. So touch and hold on the 1, and I get geeksontour.com. And if you want to know how to do that, touch and hold on one that is not programmed, and it tells you how to make a hotkey.
Can you change that then if it's...
Yeah. If we changed our website name, I could go into the settings keyboard hotkeys and make it be something else.
Very cool.
Now, home screen,
Great.
long press on a Samsung device. You can long press right on the home screen to get certain options. For example, widgets. Now I need to long press on a blank part of the screen. So I long press right there, and now I get other options. Wallpapers, widgets, settings. Widgets, I love widgets. Widgets on Android are so cool. You can have dual clocks, all sorts of things. But my point there is simply long press on your home screen gives you whatever options there are for the home screen. You can also drop a pin on a map. Just touch and hold, aka long press, and there's your pin. I also want to show you a really special one with Google Photos. So with Google Photos, first of all, a long press is how you start the selection. If I want to select all the pictures you see on this screen, I long press on the first one, keep the finger down and just drag, and you are selecting all of the pictures. But okay, time for me to shut up.
Boy, I wish I could get one of those.
But something I especially like is, let's say you've decided to edit this picture. You tap the pencil for edit, and you want to change the filter to be Juno. And you say, I'm not sure I understand what that did to the picture. Long press, and it shows you the original. Let go, and it shows you the edited version. Long press original, let go, it's the edited. I think that's pretty cool.
It is.
And that's it. That's
right.
it for my long press demonstration.
Okay, cool.
There's more.
There's always more.
But so the point is, if you're wondering, can I do, what can I do here? Try long pressing and see if something comes up that helps.
Okay. Well, we have a few comments in here. Obviously, happy Easter.
Yes, happy Easter.
Yeah. There's another one. David. Bob got in late. I hope he's getting some rest. And Jolin here says, I use Audible the same way to read audiobooks. Don't need to be connected. Just have to make sure that it's downloaded.
Yeah, I got to try Audible. Haven't done that yet.
Yeah, I did for a while. I have a couple of books in there, but I don't use it all that much. You read to me.
I know.
That's
when we're
great.
driving, I kind of like reading out loud myself.
All right. And Bob's, where'd he go? Found out on YouTube, viewing your show, I can go to settings and select the highest available quality, and then just to the right is the theater mode to still allow scrolling down for the comments. Lots of viewers probably know that, and yet some are still learning. We're all still learning.
We're all still learning. And actually, being able to add comments on YouTube is fairly new.
Yeah.
It's just within the last month.
Right.
Anyway,
it was there, and then it was gone for a long time, and now it seems to be back. So if you're watching this on the YouTube channel, you can leave comments there.
And one of our tips last week, I think, was if you feel like you're using too much bandwidth, you can change the YouTube viewing to less quality. Yeah. Now, obviously, it won't look as good, but...
Okay. Use a sticky note to turn off airplane mode. That's a good tip.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Or a okay Google set an alarm.
You're right. Set an alarm, that kind of stuff. You can conserve that battery in flight mode. Yeah, so airplane mode does save a lot of battery.
Yes,
it certainly does limit you on the things that you can do. And let's see, versions of Android have the keyboard undock. Okay, other versions. So Samsung S3 does not seem to have the keyboard undock. And yeah, well, all of these things have issues. When you have different versions, different operating systems, different versions of Android, different versions of the iOS, and some phones can take into account that stuff will work and other ones don't. So yeah, your mileage may vary, as they say.
I never undock. I don't see any need to undock. Never found a good use for it.
Okay. Like us on Facebook. Go to our Facebook page and click on it. App of the week. I was looking for an app of the week this week, and I came up with Drippler. It's one that I've been using to find apps of the week. And it is an app that works for both Android and Apple products. And you download it, you install it, and it suggests things for you. Apps, updates, things like that. So if you just go to the Drippler app on your phone, let's see if I can find it here. I'm getting all kinds of drips, they're called, and I can just go through, and if there's an app there that I feel like I want to look at, I can download it directly from here. It works on the Android and on the Apple. Here's a screenshot, I think, of the Apple. If I can get that. Where'd my screen go? There we go. So Drippler for iOS. It's compatible with the iPhone, the iPad, and the iPod Touch. It's just my app of the week. I like it.
So it's kind of like an app of the week on steroids.
An app of the week on steroids.
Lots of apps of the week.
You get all kinds of information about Android on that device or on the iPhone on that device. And it's just, you can find things that you want to download. I found so many things that I wanted to download. I download a lot of them, and then I have to clean them up and put them back. But that's,
Uninstall.
Yeah. So I've been coming up with an app of the week every week, almost every week, and now it's your turn. So you come up with an app of the week, and you let us know what you would like to see, and we'll feature it on there maybe one week. Think that'd be fun?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Did you learn something?
I learned a few things.
just getting ready for
getting
this, right?
ready for it. I've discovered new things all
right.
the time.
Okay, so when you when you touch the screen and hold your finger there, we call that what?
A long press.
All right. To get the emoji keyboard, what do?
You long press on the key of the keyboard. That is the options for that keyboard. On Apple, it looks like a globe. On my Samsung, it is a microphone. Just long press on the keyboard option key.
Okay, true or false? Everything you can do on a computer with right click can be done on a phone.
False.
Yeah.
You know, and you can try. You can try. If you're used to doing something with a right click on a computer, try doing the long press on a phone, but they are completely different devices. It's just the only possible thing.
All right. To copy text, you must select it first. You do this by
long press.
I'm starting to see a pattern here.
And then drag the beginning and ending markers to mark your selection.
Okay. And long pressing on a map will do what?
Drop a pin. Drop a marker.
Drop a marker so you can come back to it. You can save it so you know how to get back. Long pressing on an iPhone's home button will do what?
It'll bring up Siri so you can ask her questions.
All right. So, Chris, what's the webpage that lists all of our weekly shows?
GeeksOnTour.com, and the menu item is Weekly Show.
And what's the webpage that lists all of our recent newsletters?
GeeksOnTour.com. The menu item is blogs and articles, and newsletters is under there.
Well, time to write another one, isn't it?
Yeah.
That happens in a hurry, doesn't it?
Sure does. And just did number 100 too. The last newsletter was episode. Yeah. Issue number 100.
God bless you.
Newsletter issue.
So what benefits do you get by joining Geeks on Tour?
Access to all the prepared tutorial videos on the website, asking questions in the member Q&A, and the show notes for these weekly shows.
And we'll show notes every week now. We do invite you to become a member, geeksontour.com. Next time, we're going to have a show.
I thought I changed this. What did I say we were going to do?
I don't remember.
I said something. I said printing.
Oh, we're going to talk about printing from mobile devices. I can hardly wait, because guess who's going to have to do the work for that one? So we will have a show next week. Watch for the notification for that show. Click the yes that says you're coming, or put a comment in there. Leave your questions. If you have any questions, we'll try and get to them and answer them live on the show. That's a lot of fun. And we are Geeks on Tour.
Geeks on Tour.
What does this button do,
Just
Chris?
keep pressing those buttons. Keep long pressing those buttons and see what that does. Keep double pressing those buttons. Just
stop touching those buttons. I'm tired of it.